Nick Nilson, welcome to the David Nurse podcast. Living the dream. Oh, man, what a line. It's one of those lines, and you probably said this many times. Everybody said this, like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Like, what else do you say? You want to go into an hour conversation, or you just say, man, I'm living the dream. But you actually mean it. So we're going to get into that, Nick. But before we do, start the audience off with a bang. Something maybe not everybody knows about you and being this phenomenal pastor and speaker. What else? Peel back the onion.
Here's the biggest bang I got for you, David, today. I am a horrible golfer. I got no massive revelation for you. I got nothing that's going to other than I'm just really passionate about golf and I'm terrible at the moment. I don't know how your golf game is. We've talked about mutual friends who are good golfers, but I'm hooked, bro. And golf is undefeated. If that's what I could say to anyone out there right now who is trying, they're on the golf wave. It's very trendy now. But I am horrible at golf and I'm trying really hard.
I think, you know what? I think I've figured it out, to be honest with you. Here it is. Yeah. I've been golfing lately because there's some clients that I work with who love to golf. So we do meetings on the golf course.
Let's go.
The key is not practicing, not caring, not having any expectations, and not trying to stay under 100 or keep the ball in. So if you set your expectations really low, Nick,
yes.
Yes.
That's, you know what? I've come to that. I came home the other day. My wife was like, how'd you do? I'm like, terrible. And she's like, what do you expect? Like you don't golf enough. You're not at the range. Why do you, but something about my nature, David, I go in thinking today's the day. I look good. You got to dress the part. Like if you saw my gear when I'm golfing, you would think this dude's for sure hitting in the 80s. Totally. And then you saw my slice and you're like, another poser. There they go again.
Yeah, bought the Travis Matthews gear, look good, play good, or feel good, but
so I look good and I feel great, but it's struggle
tough,
city,
man. Isn't it funny? Like
golf is undefeated.
You hit it down the fairway, nice and straight, and I promise we'll get into this. This is leading into something much bigger than a golf conversation. But you hit it down the fairway, and you're like, "Well, how hard was that? Like, why can't I hit it straight every time? Like, it makes the game so easy if you hit it straight." But it just won't go straight. Like the thing just has a mind of its own. It's frustrating.
It is, bro.
So you know what? That leads into a great point, and I really want to hone on this as the overall, kind of topic that we're talking about is perspective. Perspective on our golf game. I mean, if you don't have any expectations, it's going to be a great day. Perspective on, you go to one of those movies and you have low expectations of it, and it's a little bit better than you think, and then you love the movie. Perspective is so powerful, and I'm very convinced that perspective is everything. There's always one of two camps, positive or negative, the way that you look at things. But when you talk, let's break that down a little bit. So when you talk about living the dream, that doesn't mean like everything great is coming to Nick. God's just opening up the gates and blessing him. What does this concept mean, and how can we adopt this perspective?
Yeah, I think what you said is so true. You see living the dream as a cultural cliche, Instagram captions, I'm on the vacation I want to be at, I got the house I want, or the corner office, right amount in the bank account, the Tesla in the driveway, or whatever it is you aspire to have. When you get it, you caption it, I'm living the dream. And it's almost this, we've labeled it as a place of arrival. When I've arrived, when I've got to these places, when I've achieved, or when I possess these things, then I'm going to have this ultimate sense of joy, satisfaction, happiness, fulfillment. And we all know you don't have to live long enough to realize those things are good in a moment, but they're fleeting. They can't fully satisfy your soul. They can't really make you eternally happy, satisfied, content, full of joy. You and I both, David, know people with all of those things and they're miserable. like those things. So I guess for me, I think we've been given the opportunity to see life through a new lens of perspective, faith, and Jesus offers that opportunity.
Mm,
And I'm a firm believer that the power of perspective can change your life and can change you from the inside out. And you don't have to limit the dream to a destination. You can live
so
it
good.
right now. You can experience peace, joy, satisfaction, fulfillment now,
Mm,
regardless of what you're in the middle of. And it starts with perspective. Your external circumstances don't determine your quality of life. Your perspective of those circumstances does. And it's what you talked about, like people see the title and they assume, that it is about all life is always great. And that's how you're living the dream. That's why you can say live in the dream. But I actually talk more about how to navigate challenges and
mm,
struggles and disappointment and discontentment, how to navigate through those things more than I do the wins in my life. I unpack a lot of pain, transparency, struggles, and in the fact that you can be in the middle of hard stuff and still live the dream. Still, hey, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm still living the dream. Not where I want to be in my career, still living the dream. Working 3 jobs, don't want to stay here, but I'm living the dream. It's
mm.
that perspective.
Man, it's so good. A mutual friend of ours, I heard him say it, Chad Veach, our mutual friend, said, "You're
Yeah.
either in a fire currently or you are headed towards a fire. It's just how
Yep.
life is. Can you
Yep.
dance in that fire? That's the key."
Yeah, it's
And
good.
it's so good that you say that. Like, there is no "I made it" moment. There's just not. I've been around Eric Spoelstra, the Miami Heat, very good friend of mine. The Los Angeles Rams head coach, Sean McVay, good friend. They both were talking at a dinner I was at with them of just how empty they felt when they won the championship.
Wow.
Now, why? The top of the
Wow.
world of the sports, what they train their whole life for, empty. There is never going to be that "I made it" moment. I love that you said that, man. And I want to talk about like as we go on this journey, because part of life, the fun of it is, continuing to grow and continuing to learn and aspire for more. How do you do that as an individual or a team? Can you talk about just the power of what you talk about in the book of creating the dream team?
Yeah, I think, who you surround yourself with is so important. We're really the byproduct of the relationships we choose to be around. I like to look at it as we're each a seed and we're packed with potential, gifts, talents, a dream, a
It's
vision,
cool.
things God's put in us that he wants to see flourish. And if you put that seed in bad soil, in a bad place, in bad environment, that seed will never fully grow to its fullest potential and bear fruit. But you put that seed in a great environment, in a great space, and it's taken care of well, that thing can bloom and it can become something amazing, something it was designed to become. And you and I know I've had seasons of my life where I was around the wrong people and it limited me, whether they were negative, whether they were, haters, people lead me down the wrong path, trying to get me into compromise, whatever it may be. I saw the quality of my life change. I saw my perspective beginning to change simply because I was around the wrong people. And I just think we each have a dream, something in us that God's put in us to go after. And I think it's important to assess who you surround yourself with, get
Mm,
around people who are going to lift you, push you, get around people who are going to speak truth to you in love.
totally.
Like my wife is one of my main, captain of the dream team. And
Absolutely.
I've given her permission, as I think everybody should, to somebody, permission to speak truth in love, permission to, call you out on things, but also be your biggest encourager, be your biggest advocate. So I think when I talk about dream team, for me, it's just essential that we assess our relationships and
Yeah.
pursue quality relationships that will push us and not pull us down.
You know that feeling when you are just recharged? You don't have any sickness, no ailments. You have full, optimal energy. You are functioning at your highest level. You want to recreate that? Yeah, sure. You do. I do. We all do. And then you can times it by 10. What I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. So hold on here. This is real. Hyperbaric chamber. If you don't know what it is, look it up right now. Look up Eleve Health, Eleve health.com. It's an oxygen miracle. What it is, HBOT, the hyperbaric chamber, it's a simple and non-invasive therapy where you go into this. It places a body in a pressurized environment that allows extra oxygen to dissolve in the blood plasma and travel freely throughout your circulatory system, getting more red blood cells flowing naturally to the body's function. It's going to help you kill off any harmful bacteria. It's going to help you detox, increase your oxygen concentration, resist and fight infection, heal wounds faster, improve oxygen supply, reduce swelling, stop infection, lower inflammation, all while you're relaxing in the chamber. I kid you not. This is what the pros, the top Olympic athletes, what everybody uses for the highest optimization recovery. This is called Hyperbaric Chamber, HBOT, from Eleve Health, Eleve Health.com. Message me separately too if you want to get a specific deal on this. Check it out as you're a sports team, if you're an individual, if you're just somebody who loves optimization. It will be an absolute life changer for you.
Man, it's everything. Because isn't it when you're around those type of people that believe in you and have big dreams, like you feel just more inspired. You're just in those rooms and you walk out of there just, a little pep in your step, a little Deion Sanders strutting your stuff. You're like, man, I can do it because of the people around you. It's so powerful, man.
Yeah.
So
And I think when it comes to relationships too, a lot of people, they want to be lone rangers and they want to get after it alone. And I can do this all by myself. And I just think it's not the best way to go about it. You can try and go after it alone, but it's clear, like God shaped us to need relationships. I mean, when you look at the garden, David, and you see Adam and Eve, or before Adam and Eve, you see just Adam. It was Adam in paradise, but God said, it's not good. It's not good. You need somebody, and created Eve. And I think from the very beginning, we see that God has shaped us to need people to go forward, to fulfill our destiny, to become everything He's shaped us to be. And I just think God's planted strategically people in your path to help you. You and I can look back on our journey. I can look back on my journey and see God put strategic people. I'm talking about neighbors down the street when I was a kid, to gym teachers, to my 7th grade football coach, to, mentors and pastors and leaders as I grew in my faith, that God strategically planted to pull the greatness out of me. And I just think we need people. Relationships are essential for, like I said, our full potential to fully come to fruition.
Well, I think I want people to just really let that soak in, because think about it. And I often ask people, like, when was the last time you did something great on a huge scale of greatness by yourself? The answer is never. No one, any time ever in the history of ever. We can't. We just can't. We are made for relationships, and relationships that are life-giving, pouring into others, pouring into ourselves through others. Man, it's that right there is a reason to get the book, to live the dream, to be around those type of people. You know what, Nick? I think you have, I would probably say, the most difficult job in the world. So hear me out. This, and I tell pastors this, of the calling they have on their heart, the leadership, importance that you have of sharing the gospel, but in a way that you have to create a new message basically every time you get up there, which is wild to me. As a speaker, I get to use about 80% of the same stories. And I'm like, I'm like the old 80s rock band, just playing my greatest hits time and time again. But you have to create new sermons, and there has got to be stress. There has got to be pressure. There's got to be anxiety that you're feeling. But how do you just do it, man? How do you stay so, like, it just seems like anytime I watch you speak at Lakewood, it just looks like, man, Nick's got it all together. He's smiling. Like, you're one of those people, like, I was like, I want whatever he's got, give me 2 of those.
Hey, number one, you're a good friend, and I thank you for those kind words. But clearly I don't have it put together. If you read my book, you'll see some very transparent stories that I talk
Yeah.
about where it shows I don't. I'm trying my best. As it relates to, my job and what I get to do, it is difficult, and there's pressures, and there's things that you have to navigate and sort. But I really feel like, David, it comes down to creating a sustainable pace. And I think it comes down to how, how I create space throughout my week to make sure that I'm fresh, that I'm sharp, that I'm creative. And I think for me, it's making sure that I've created margin in my life, that I've created space in my life where I can get alone with God. I can be fresh. I can get new ideas. I can listen. I can shut everything down and just get really, really quiet. And I think this not only helps me, but I think it can help anyone. I think there's such a need for people to shut things down and to get really quiet. And that can look different for everyone, and it can be at different times for everybody. But for me to be able to produce consistently, it has to come from a deep place and a healthy place and a well that is taken care of. And I think vacations are great, but I'm trying to build a life that I don't need a vacation from.
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
trying to build a life where, I don't know about you, but there's been times where I've gone on vacation or breaks, and I come back overwhelmed.
For
500
sure.
emails in the inbox. I'm like dreading almost getting back into the trenches, right? And really, that's a reflection of the schedule and the life that I've created and built. And I just think, for me, I've worked and am working really hard at consistently assessing the margins in my life. Do I have space? Do I have room? Or am I maxing out? And there's been seasons where I've maxed out and I haven't been my best. Maybe you heard a great sermon, but at home I was speaking sharply to my wife or speaking in ways to my kids that I'm not proud of. And so for me, it's important to be a whole man, to be the same man on the platform as I am off, to walk in integrity, character, humility. And you don't just get that by having an hour here of prep or an hour there. It's like you have to create a week and a life that has margin and space.
Oh man, that is so good. Isn't it wild that society puts it these days that busy is almost like a badge of honor? Like if you're not busy, you're not doing anything good. And we'll have these successful friends we know, and they're like, "Oh man, I got so much going. I'm so busy." Like, why? Like literally, like why? Why do you have to? You really
Yes.
don't.
The hustle, the grind, the t-shirts, the hashtag hustle. It, like you said, and if you're not stressed, it's weird, bro. It's like if you're not stressed, then you almost feel bad. Like if people go, man, I'm stressed, I'm grinding, I got three things, doing this. And then you're literally like, how are you? And I'm like, well,
It's like,
I'm great. I'm living the dream. I got peace. I got joy. Like,
yeah,
and you almost feel guilty for saying,
totally.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it is. It's a cultural thing. And so I think we just have to, and I say we because I think it's a constant assessment of going, do I have margin in my life, or am I maxing out my time saying yes to everything? I think, David, it takes more faith to say no than it does to say yes. And I think as a culture, I think we can just get better at saying no more to things. The stay-at-home mom to the CEO. There's so many things grabbing at our attention today. And the best thing you can give your future is a healthy you. And I think that just starts with saying no a little bit more than we're saying yes right now to make sure we're healthy. So that's what I'm trying to do.
All right, so I've been asked multiple times, am I still in college? No, I'm not. I kind of wish I was. But the reason I get asked that is because my skin still looks so young. I'm far from college, trust me. And I haven't always had the best skin either, like blemishes. Just 6 months ago, I had a huge, massive breakout, but that doesn't happen anymore. And honestly, it is because of OneSkin. I'm a true believer in what OneSkin is doing. They are addressing the skin at a molecular level, targeting root causes, not just the topical and trying to take blemishes away, but they're actually
they're working on the root cause of what ages skin and functionalities and makes it feel and look younger, and they can actually reverse the age of your skin. Yeah, nobody else is doing that. My wife and I, Taylor, who's got beautiful skin, even more beautiful now, we went up to headquarters in San Francisco and watched how it all was done. Growing skin, the testing that they're doing, their OneSkin body, OneSkin prep, OneSkin topical supplement. They're changing it. They are reversing. They're anti-aging, reinvented. So OneSkin, if you want your money maker, your skin, the biggest organ in your body to be taken care of at the best level, this is for you. OneSkin.co, C-O, and the code for 15% off is David15. The link will also be in the show notes. That's OneSkin.co, David15, and reverse your age.
Oh man, is there anything that you like in your weekly schedule or daily schedule? Like, hey, here are my non-negotiables. Here's how I recharge. Because it's everybody wants to be able to be like, oh yeah, I'm great at saying no, and nobody is. It is that like just that the rat race, and I think one of the coolest mindsets to have. And I try to remind myself, and I write this down: Jesus pace. Like the dude got so much done and was never in a hurry. You know, he's just chilling, you know, stop for a little glass of wine here, glass of wine, hang out there, just never in a hurry. So is there anything that you do on a weekly or daily basis? And you're like, man, these really, really help me keep the
I think two things every day that I try to do, not perfect. Number one is I always start my day with a quiet space. So I'll get up, get my kids ready for school. So it's not the very, very first thing, but after I'm done getting my kids to school, I'll get dressed to go to the gym. And before I leave, I get into my study and I just get quiet. No phone, no reminders, no emails, you know, not even music, and just really get my mind clear and reset. And for me, it's the space where I let God just check my heart. I let, you know, the certain thoughts come into my head that I feel like maybe God's compelling me to do. Sometimes, David, there's nothing. And I feel like, what am I doing? Like, I don't hear anything. Like, am I off? What's wrong? But I just feel like when I do that every morning, there is this sense of like, all right, I'm coming back to this space where today is the day that God's made. The Bible says that I'll rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that He's made, and I have grace for today. So if He made it, there's purpose in it. And I want to start my day going, all right, there's purpose packed into this day. I want to discover it, and I don't want to miss it from the jump. So after that, I go work out, and that's an early morning workout that for me helps me to stay fresh. It breathes life into me, working out, sweating, all that good stuff. And then at about 5, 6 o'clock after I'm done with work, come home and I have that same quiet moment before I'm interacting with my kids, before we're going after dinner, before anything else that's happening in my day. For me, I'm a routine guy. I like consistency. I like routine. And that's something that I do so that I'm not taking any of my stress, any of my frustration that happened throughout the day at work, with people, with other things that have happened, into my kids' world, my marriage. You know, I need to be a present father. And so those two things help me. Those work for me. I mean, in Houston, I'm driving an hour. I mean, it's crazy rush hour traffic. And I come home and I'm depleted from just driving. And I have to just get quiet and go, all right, reset. Your kids could care less if there was if there's a traffic jam on 59. You know, how can I be my best for them? So those two things, along with working out, help me consistently.
Man, I love it because you literally create the margins. You set the margins. I need this at the beginning. I need this at the end. And if we don't, it is just a constant flux. It's the phone that dominates us. It's the, hey, I'm going to spend time with my family and my kids, but I'm scrolling because I haven't set it down and made
100%
that type of block. Man, this is amazing. We are just literally scratching the surface on everything that is in You Can Live the Dream. So it's just like, anybody listening, it's kind of a no-brainer to go get the book because I mean, this right here is worth it in itself. And there's so much more. It's everywhere books live. I know all that kind of stuff. Follow what Nick is doing. Just giving just great wisdom and encouragement, man, like real, genuine encouragement. And who doesn't need that? It's sometimes it goes, it feels like, oh, that's cheesy. Just encourage. No, it'll change your life. A perspective, one small perspective shift that Nick is talking about, that he has been called to deliver this message, can change everything, man. And it just like, it all comes back to, and I'm going to ask you one question before we jump off here. And is the Romans 8:28. I'm not even like a verse dropper, but this one is everything. If you can just take one verse, like this is it, knowing that he's going to work it all for our good. The good, the bad, it all for our good.
So good.
So powerful, man. Okay, Nick, if you were to give somebody a piece of advice, they're listening to this like, I know, yeah, I hear you, but I'm just, man, I'm in such a bad spot. So I don't even know where to get going. I don't even know where to take a step. If you could give them like a 30-second mic drop, what would you tell somebody who is just in a incredible fire and can't even see the next step they're about to take? How do they do it?
I would say that God sees you where you're at. I think God is he cares deeply about you and your situation. He hasn't forgotten about you. I think oftentimes when we're faced with a giant or a mountain that's not moving, it's easy to buy into the lie that God forgot about me. Sometimes it's even, did I deserve this? Maybe there's a past mistake that you did that you feel has put you in the place that you're in. And I just think God holds you in the palm of his hand. He's got you. He's fighting your battles for you. And I think a lot of people just need to be encouraged that they're doing better than they think they are. And God is doing more than you think he is. And I think if that is such, just for someone today who is listening to this podcast, you're doing better than you think you are. Oftentimes we're harder on ourselves than we're on anyone else. Celebrate the good things that you have walked into, that you have seen yourself progress in on the way to great. Celebrate the good on the way to great, and trust that God is doing more than you think he is. When you can't see his hand, trust his heart. Trust he's got you, and he's got huge things planned for your future.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Hey, you know what everybody needs to do? Just rewind this and listen to this every single morning. Put this in your morning routine after that quiet time. Nick, amazing. I could talk to you for hours and hours on end, but man, I want to bless anybody that is listening to this. If you message me that you want one of these books, I'll buy you one of these books and totally get you on the right step and the right path. This is it. Nick, appreciate you so much, brother.
Bro, thanks for having me on, man. Honored to spend some time with you, man.
Absolutely.